Hey everybody, Nicholas here, and you are listening to a new episode of the Hound on the Run podcast. If you're new here, this show is all centered around hound hunting, but I like to talk about a wide range of topics, including news stories, political issues, cultural issues, tips and tricks for actually hunting with hounds, training ideas. We're going to talk about some dog box stuff today. Basically anything that would affect the lives of myself and my fellow hound hunters all around the country and all around the globe. I have a lot of cool stuff planned for you in the future, so be sure to subscribe to the channel on YouTube. That's right, this is a video podcast, so you can see myself talking. You can see this cool picture of this bobcat I treed a couple years ago right up there. And yeah, I like to add in a lot of visuals to make it a little more engaging, a lot more fun. So hit us up on YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and more importantly, tell all your friends about it. I'm trying to grow this show as much as I possibly can, and I need your help. So subscribe on YouTube. It's also available on all the major podcast platforms. So Apple, Spotify, go ahead and subscribe there and give us a review if you could. I really, really appreciate it. So today, I'm bringing you a little bit of a different episode because I kind of screwed up this last one that I actually had planned for today. So I had an interview that I did this last week with the one and only Brett Vaughn from Born 100 Years Too Late, but I screwed it up. I made a big mistake. So let me tell you a little bit about that. So sorry, Brett. But basically what happened is I got a little complicated setup here for how I record this show, and I was basically recording it in two different places. Well, I forgot to hit the record button on Brett's recording. So what ended up happening was I ended up with a one-sided conversation where you only hear me talking, and that completely went against what I was trying to accomplish there. So luckily, Brett is a very kind gentleman, and he agreed to come on again and do another recording with me. So we're going to try to get that done this next week. On the topic of Brett Vaughn, please take a second to go over to his channel, Born 100 Years Too Late, subscribe there, and then go to his other channel, Interviews, Stories, and Tales, and subscribe there because every Monday night, we go live on that channel. So it's me, Chris from Anecdote of a Houndsman, George from Mountain Music and Mules, Uncle Papa Johnny, and who else? That's the core crew. And then we've been having special guests come on as well. I believe tomorrow night we are going live with Calvin Redhouse from Res Hounds. He is a legend, let me tell you, and we're really looking forward to streaming with him. So check it out. But for today, I wanted to so yeah, since I screwed up that interview, I still wanted to put an episode out. But so today, I'm going to give you just a little recap of what's going on around here at Hound on the Run Studios. So really, right now it's August 13th, and that means I am in preparation mode, trying to get everything ready for the upcoming bobcat pursuit season. So here in Oregon, that starts on September 1st, when we can actually hit the woods hard and start running our dogs for real. I've been trying to exercise my dogs, but it's just been so hot here. I know for you guys in the Midwest and the South, hearing some Oregon idiot say that it's hot outside probably is laughable to you, but it's hot, okay? It's hot and it's dry. And my dogs are not calibrated for any kind of heat like that. They're used to hunting in very cold weather, very cold, rainy weather. So I don't want them to overheat, so I take it easy. I've tried to get some roading in with them, but yeah, it's just been tricky. So yeah, I've been in full preparation mode. We also have a lot of high fire danger right now in the woods, so that makes it so a lot of roads are shut down. You can't actually drive on them. I think in some cases you can go and walk in, but when you're trying to keep up with these dogs, I mean, you really need to be in a vehicle to cover to be able to cover a lot of ground and get close to them. Back when I first started a couple years ago, I did a lot of hunting on foot, and man, I got in a ton of exercise, that's for sure. But there's also just some incredibly stressful moments where my dogs would be a couple miles away from me, and I would have to just haul butt to try to catch up to them. And then what would end up happening is I'd get close on a road, and then they'd take off in a different direction. And, it was just terrible. So I really like to just hunt out of my truck. I'm okay to wait. I don't see any benefit of putting my dogs in a position where they're going to overheat or, hurt their feet, that kind of stuff. On that topic though, one of the main things I'm preparing for is getting their feet in shape. So I'm going to try to take it really easy once the season opens up. I need to gradually build their feet back up because they've been laid up for a couple of months now and their feet are soft. I hate to say it, that's just the truth. But yeah, so I'll tell you about a little bit more in a second about how I'm going about getting their feet ready. But just a couple of quick, a couple goals that I have in this little preparation period before we get into the actual hunting season. So I'm going to be working with my dogs on some handling skills. So my two main dogs, Cooley and Rue, I've talked about them a lot. They are, in terms of handling, they are 100%. Like, I don't really need to do any work with them. They are just so tuned into me and what I ask of them. It's a joy to hunt with them. So I have them trained to where I can stay in my truck, and when I tone them, their default is they're going to run and jump up on top of the dog box, and then we can keep going. And also I will just give them a verbal command. I'll just tell them okay when I stop the truck, and then tell them okay. That lets them know they're good to jump down off the truck and go find a track. But my three younger dogs, Clover, Bruno, and Tika, the blue tick, or the blue pups that Cooley had last year, they are not at that level by any means. They'll load up, they can jump into the dog box when I tell them to, which is great. I still want to get, work with them a lot more on that. Just so it's not a struggle, when we're actually out there in the woods. But yeah, that's a huge goal, to get them to jump up and down from the dog box on command for rigging. So yeah, that's going to be a big training chore that I need to do. It's not really a chore. I really enjoy doing it. I love training these dogs. And really, before I even started hunting with them, I got very deep into obedience training with Cooley. So I was, really inspired by like all the Schutzhund work they do with working dogs. Heel, place, like all that kind of high level stuff. And yeah, Cooley, she's a little rusty on it now because I just haven't kept up with it, because there's, no need to for the hunting I do. But yeah, she can snap into a heel. She can do a center heel where she walks between my legs. She can do place on command, meaning like laying down in one spot and not moving. She can do all kinds of stuff. So I really would like to get my other dogs up to that level. But, with all these dogs, it just is quite a bit of a time commitment to put in that work. But I know I need to do it, so it's on the agenda. That is a crazy noise. Oh, you know what that is? That's my sweet angel wife, Taylor, pressure washing the house. So sorry for the background noise. There's no way in hell I'm going to interrupt her doing that, because if she's pressure washing the house, that means I don't have to pressure wash the house, and I can be in here making a podcast instead. So thank you, Taylor. You're awesome. All right, what else? Oh yeah, in terms of actually conditioning the dogs, ideally, I wish I had a nice gravel road that I could just run them on every day. Yeah, that noise is kind of crazy, but we're rolling with it. I got to get this done. I wish I had a nice gravel road that I could run them on every day, because I found that gravel is the best way to condition their feet to where they're just rock hard. They'll never tear. I don't have access to that though. So I'm going to, I got to do a little workaround. And so what I'm doing for that is, first of all, there's an amazing product, and this is not a sponsor. This is an amazing product that you need to know about if you care about your dog's feet. It's called Paws Are Protected. Again, this is not a sponsor. I'm not getting, I just put in an order for this with my own monies. But it is amazing stuff. It's all natural. I don't really know what's in it, but my goodness, you put it on their feet and it just like soaks into their feet and keeps them nice and moist, or not moist, but like supple. And it keeps them keeps their paws hydrated so that they're not drying out and cracking. The only times in the last year or two that my dog's feet have actually cracked are when I forget to put this stuff on. So, running on those dry gravel roads, like, it seems like it just saps the moisture out of the dog's feet, and they get dry and they crack, and they get, and that sucks. No one wants that for their dog. But every time whenever I remember to put this stuff on their feet the night before, it just makes it so, yeah, their feet are not going to crack if you do that. So I had just freshly ran out. I put in an order today. I can't wait to get it. We're going to slap that on the dog's feet. And then what I'm going to do, instead of running them on the road, I'll still try to get out and do that if I can. But I like to do a lot of flirt pole training with my dogs. If you don't know what a flirt pole is, just Google it. It seems like it's pretty popular with like the bulldog, like, pit bulls and dogs like that, because they like to tug and things. But with my dogs, I made it out of about I think it's like a 5-foot piece of PVC pipe. And then I have a length of paracord. It's probably about 8 feet long, running through the PVC pipe out the end. And then I tie on just a chunk of raccoon hide onto that. And yeah, basically it's just an epic game of tug of war. But what you can do with that 5 feet of length, you can get it away from your body a good distance, and you can really, really work the dog, make them jump, flip over, like do all kinds of acrobatics. And I just love doing it. It's super fun. When I do it, like, my neighbors will come out and, they can kind of see in our backyard. They'll come and watch just because it's incredible to see how athletic these dogs are. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing a lot of flirt pole work, and if I do it on my patio, there's enough it's abrasive enough that I think that's gonna kind of, toughen up their feet in the meantime. You just got to work with what you have, right? And that's what I'm all about. So yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of flirt pole work, and I'll try to make a video of that and put it up on the YouTube channel. So that's big. That's big chunk of the preparation I'm doing. I am also in the process of building a new dog box. So I've been very fortunate to have a great hunting mentor who has hooked me up in so many ways with dogs and advice and frickin' bailing me out of tough situations in the woods. Like when my starter died in my truck, he came and rescued me. He also is letting me borrow this awesome aluminum dog box. So it came from his brother-in-law, who actually tragically passed away in a logging accident. And this dog box he had made for the exact model of truck that I have, believe it or not. So he used to hunt out of a Nissan hardbody, just like I have. I think he had the king cab version. I have the single cab. But basically, it's just, it fits between the wheel wells, and it's got a pretty short, it's got a kind of a short rail on it, which is one thing I don't necessarily like about it. It's just the dogs can climb over it easier. I wish the rail was a little taller, but all aluminum. It's very weather tight. Like the dogs don't get wet if they're in there. They stay nice and warm. But it's just a little too small. So I can fit 3 dogs on each side, but they're a little cramped. So ideally, I need more space. So that's where my mind is at right now. And it's been the main it's just been driving me crazy. Like anytime I get on a project like this, it's all I can think about. I can't stop thinking about this freaking dog box I'm trying to design and build. So there's a couple of challenges I'm trying to work around here, and I just kind of want to talk through those real quick. My truck is, oh yeah. So the current dog box I have, like I would just keep using it, and I'm going to, until I can get one made. I absolutely love it. But the rig platform, where the dogs actually ride up on top when we're driving around, it's not very big. Like I can really only have 2 dogs up there comfortably at a time, but I want to be able to have all 6 up there at a time. And so I just need I need a wider platform. That's a really big deal for me right now. And so the other thing is that my truck has basically no storage space at all for any gear inside the cab. I mean, little tiny space behind the seats. Those are packed full of clothes, and I actually have my whole rock climbing kit in there. I have an 80-meter climbing rope, harnesses, all kinds of stuff. And I figured, hey, there's cliffs where I hunt. If I ever need to rappel, I'll be ready to go. And there's just no storage space. So that's why I built that. If you've seen any of my videos, I built I just call it a cargo box. It sits behind the cab, in between, so behind the cab, in front of the dog box, just kind of sandwiched in there. And it's amazing. I can fit everything I need to basically, I could survive out of my truck for a couple weeks just with what's in that cargo box right now. I keep 2 chainsaws in there. I come along and like vehicle recovery gear. I keep 5 gallons of gas in there. I got 8 gallons of water. I bought this, it's called a Molly panel with a bunch of bags. I bought it off a Jeep guy for pretty cheap off of Craigslist. So I love it. It's got everything just right there ready to go. And, but it's taking up some valuable bed space. So I need a bigger dog box, but I also need this storage space. So that's kind of my challenge right now. I'm not settled on a design. So I was hoping that you guys could reach out and let me know how you built your dog box. I want to hear from all the listeners about what kind of dog box you use, how you built it or who built it for you, and kind of what your thought process is when you were designing it. Dog boxes are, in my opinion, they're kind of like they're like an art form unto themselves for hound hunters. And it just becomes so unique to them. Everyone hunts a different area, has different dogs, hunts in a different style. And yeah, the dog box it's like a direct reflection of how you hunt. And I love them. There needs to be like a museum of dog boxes. There might be. And if there is, I want to go to it. But okay, so basically there's a couple of different designs that I am considering. The first being what's known as an on the rail style, where basically the bed of the truck serves as the dog box. So that's, the dogs are actually riding directly in the bed of the truck. And then you have a topper, it's like a topper that sits on the rails of the truck. So why I like that is it maximizes your dog space. Because you're just using the bed. You're not, with like my slide in box now, it's between the wheel wells. So I'm missing out on some, square footage on the side, on the wings, let's call them. This weekend, I actually was fortunate enough to have a podcast listener, Mr. Tim Brink. He lives in Idaho, but he was actually passing through Portland, and so he offered to drive down to Salem just to show me his dog box. I thought that was so awesome. So of course I took him up on it. So we, basically met in an Arby's parking lot not too far away. And yeah, just hung out for an hour or so. And he kind of gave me the full rundown of his dog box and kind of what he was thinking when he designed it and built it. And yeah, I got a lot of good ideas from that. But it also did bring to mind, so his is that exactly what I just described, the on the rail style of dog box where, it's just riding on top of the rails, and then he had a toolbox in front of it. Now, we did talk about some of the problems with that, and this is my main concern about why I would not want to use that style. And that is the rain. And weatherproofness, I only hunt in areas where it's dumping rain constantly. That is just a fact of life here. So I need the dog box to be very watertight. The problem with these on the rail styles, especially with a toolbox in front, which if I did the on the rail, I would just keep my current cargo box because I put so much work into building that thing. It's already outfitted exactly how I like it. I really don't want to get rid of it. I think doing the on the rail in front of that will give me plenty of space to store, for my 6 dogs. And then if I get more in the future, which of course I'm going to, I'm obsessed with these freaking dogs. I'm going to have more dogs. Okay. So you're just going to have to deal with that. Okay. Talking to my wife. Okay. There will always be more hounds in the future. And so I feel like I'll have enough space if I put an on the rail box in front of my dog box or in front of my cargo box. But the problem is there's a gap. So it's going to, even though it's butted up against the cargo box, there's still going to be a gap there, and water is going to come down through that gap and fill the bed of the truck. Maybe not fill it, but it's going to get wet. The dogs are going to get wet. My buddy Charlie Merrifield, his channel is called Midnight Blue Outdoors. He's got his own YouTube channel. He was telling me that his first dog box he built was an on the rail style, and he had it in front of his toolbox. And this was the main thing he warned me about, is that water would just go pouring in through that crack. Yesterday when I was talking with Tim about it, what he did to get around that, because he said that does happen. But he basically just took some, I think it's like foam insulation for like water pipes or whatever. And he just kind of jammed that down in that crack. And he said that worked pretty good. His puppies ate it though. The puppies just eat everything. So of course, yeah, they ate the foam right away. So I would have to, so if I do the on the rail, the weather coming into the box is my main concern. Tim also had to seal, so the front of the box where the doors are, so you open the tailgate and that's what, you're looking at like where the doors are. He had to do silicone around the edges to keep the water out there as well. So those are my main concerns with an on the rail box, is just, I don't want my dogs getting soaking wet just riding in the box. They're going to get soaking wet out while they're hunting. What's nice about having a nice sealed up dog box is they can go in there, their body heat will dry them out. Works great. So yeah, I'm still not ruling the on the rail out, because I like the concept. The other option would be, so if I did want to stick with an on the rail style, it would be more weatherproof. It's not going to be waterproof at all, but like it'd be more weatherproof if I take my cargo box out and then do the on the rail box for the entire length of the bed. So then it's just fully capped. There's not going to be any gaps on the, in between anything. It'll be a full cap over the bed. And then I was thinking I can even overlap it on the tailgate side by, maybe a couple inches, do a little overhang to keep water from coming in there. But then of course I'm giving up my cargo box. So, and I still need to put all that gear somewhere. So what I was thinking I would do for that is make some basically like 6 foot long by like 1 foot wide toolboxes, and those would serve as the side rails for the box. So I really like that idea. It's gonna be quite a bit of work building those boxes. I could just buy, I can buy the metal, aluminum ones, but those are expensive. Okay, I'm trying to do this as cheaply as possible. I'm a DIY kind of person. I like building things myself, and I only have a I have a certain budget for my dog hobby, and I spend a couple $100 a month on dog food. So I and then the gas money involved in hunting these dogs is absurd. I can't even look at my gas bill because I would probably talk myself out of it. But I just fill her up and let her rip. But I got to keep my budget in mind. So I'm trying to do this as cheaply as possible. I'm not going to go and spend $1,000, $1,500 on really nice pro tech side toolboxes or whatever. I'm going to build them. What I would probably do is use the same technique that I used for my cargo box, and that is something called poor man's fiberglass. If you look up poor man's fiberglass on YouTube, you will find a lot of videos of people building their own like campers, like little camper trailer deals, especially the teardrop campers. This technique is very popular with those folks. And it's what I did on my cargo box, and it is waterproof. It is very surprisingly. Basically what it is so I built the cargo box out of a wood frame, and then I did a very thin sanded plywood for the panels. And then for the finish, what you do is you take a canvas drop cloth, so like heavy duck canvas, and you use wood glue to glue that onto the plywood. Okay. And then once that dries, you do another layer of wood glue. So you're kind of coating all that canvas, which is kind of porous, and it soaks up the wood glue. And wood glue is waterproof. Tight Bond 2 is what I used. So, and then you sand that down, and then you do another layer of wood glue. You sand that down, you can do another layer if you want. So some people will do 3 or 4 layers, and just the more layers you do, the more durable it's going to be. That stuff is pretty stout. And you sand it down again, and then you just hit it with exterior house paint. I spent, probably one of the more expensive parts of that project was the house paint I got. But I am blown away about how well that thing has held up. I was going to be happy if I got a couple seasons out of the finish, and then I'd have to repaint it. But at this point, I don't even have to repaint it. It is pretty bomb proof. So I'm very, very happy with how that's turned out. So if I do the side toolbox idea, I'm gonna probably use that same technique to build those dog boxes. Just make a wood frame, do the plywood, and then the poor man's fiberglass, and I'll put some locking handles on it. So I'm excited about that idea. I really like that idea. So that's another option. So yeah, that would be the full on the rail dog box cover, the full bed. The third option I'm considering, this would be the easiest option for me, would be to just build a full length of the bed slide-in dog box. So I'd just make it out of wood. That's going to be the most watertight one, I would think. And then I will so that would have to go in between the rails, but I'm sure I'll still have plenty of room for dogs if I do it that way. And then I would do a wood top, and then put some kind of grippy stuff on, do a good finish on it to keep that wood in good shape. A lot of people do carpet. Tim, he had the same kind of deal going, and he said he used bare deck paint, and that seems to hold up pretty good. But I would do so that'd be my rig platform, and that would be the exact same size as the bed. And so what that allows for is then you have like a 5 or 6 inches of overlap. So that makes a nice roof so the dogs can still stick their head out, but they're staying dry. And that's going to keep a lot of water out. I think that's a really popular way that people do it out here, just for the rain. So I'm really liking that option. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas for me about how I should build this dog box, I'm more interested in you telling me about how you built your dog box. I'm going to build mine however I end up building it. So don't be offended if I don't use your idea exactly. But basically, I want to know your thought process of how you built your dog box. And please go ahead and get in touch with me. Send me pictures to houndrunnerweekly@gmail.com. And then, of course, you can call the Hound on the Run hotline at 971-301-4884 if you just want to talk me through it. I would greatly appreciate it if you all got in touch with me, and I might even share some of that on the podcast. Moving on, I am still in the process of finishing up my audiobook. So for those of you who don't know, last year, almost exactly a year ago, I published a book called Cat Dog Chronicles. And this book it's not very big. It's kind of a short book, but it documents my journey of learning how to catch bobcats with my dogs. Very niche subject, but basically, I was given a fully broke cat dog named Whiskey from my mentor. And the book is basically me learning from her and from my mentor how to hunt these bobcats and trying to get my dogs, who I started on raccoons, switched over to bobcats. And it was extremely challenging. And that's what the book's about. So I had always planned on making an audiobook version as well. And that's what I've been working my butt off on. I recorded the whole thing, and now I've been editing and mixing the audio tracks. Basically, I plan on this book is going to be on Audible, which is it's through Amazon. Audible, that's like the main place you go if you want to get an audiobook. Well, Audible has very tight, very stringent guidelines on the quality of the audio files. So I basically have to go through every second of the recording and make sure all my audio levels are perfect and that it's all formatted correctly. It's just taking way longer than I thought it would. The 1-year anniversary of my book being published is coming up at the end of this month of August. And so I'm really hoping that I can get the audiobook out by then. So stay tuned. If you want to be the first to know about it, go to houndontherun.com and subscribe to my newsletter. That's where I send out updates, and I send out, little write-ups about the podcast episodes I put out. And at some point I'll get back into, actually publishing more actual writing on there. But I can only do so much. These podcasts, they too take a fair amount of time to create and put out there. But that's kind of the main hub for this little operation is houndontherun.com. So yeah, go check it out. And that's pretty much my recap for today. So I hope you enjoyed this. And again, please get in touch with me. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, anywhere like that. Just send me a message. Let's talk. Before we go today, I just wanted to give you another little reminder that the hotline is open. So again, you can call 971-301-4884. Leave me a voicemail. And I will talk about whatever you share on the podcast. Ask questions. If I don't know the answers, I will try to find someone who does know the answer. So please get in touch. We also, another reminder that we have the Monday night live streams with what I call the Hound Tubers, and that is over on the Interviews, Stories, and Tales YouTube channel with Brett Vaughn from Born 100 Years Too Late. We have Chris Watson from Anecdote of a Houndsman, George Lambert from Mountain Music and Mules, and Jonathan Jones from Uncle Papa Johnny. So, we got a good group going, and these live streams have been super fun. They start at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. So if you're out here in Oregon on the West Coast, that would be 4:30 p.m. If you're in Arizona, I believe that same time, 4:30, or maybe I don't know. Don't quote me on this time. Go to that channel, Interviews, Stories, and Tales, and subscribe there and hit the notification bell so that you get notified when we go live. And on that note, that's all I have for you today. Go subscribe to Hound on the Run on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Subscribe to the newsletter. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. You have a great day.